So welcome to Cyber Escape. I'm
Hi.
Val, and I go by all pronouns. And how about you?
Hi, I'm Iniquitous, and I also go by all pronouns.
Work. So, okay, one of the things that are right now, like top of the questions I wanted to ask you was you made
Mm,
this TikTok post, and it was the feral vampire. There was
yeah,
the like I hate myself for being a vampire, and there was
yeah.
intelligent vampire. And one, I was like, so I know that you go with this like vampire themed thing. So I was like, what kind of vampire are you?
Ooh, definitely depends on how my mental health is at the time.
Mhm.
Definitely one that enjoys it. I mean, I chose to look like this every day, so definitely something along those lines. I wouldn't say I'm sophisticated by any means, but the sense of style I choose tends to be more closer to that. It's like more Victorian kind of. So I
Yeah.
can pretend to be for a while. So probably yeah, probably just the regular old Victorian castle gothic vampire that you would think of.
Oh my God, I went through your post and I was so excited because you had a little bit of a clown phase at some
I
point.
did, I did. Yeah,
And I am in a clown phase. Like, I don't know if it's a phase yet, but like,
that's such a good aesthetic and phase to be in. It was so fun.
yeah, I'm in a little clown thing right now. If like my personal Instagram, it's like me in clown makeup a lot. And like,
Oh my gosh, I have to see that. I love that.
and so, like, for you in this vampire thing, are vampires like huge for Irish culture?
Um, yes, but they're different. Like I from what I know, like they are mostly originated from like Romanian culture. Or that's where a lot of like the legends that we know. But every culture has a different um take on it, kind of. It's like different abilities and different things that will kill them and different motives and but as for Irish culture, yes, but less so. Their uh, folklore monsters kind of things tend to be more like the fae and like banshees and things like that, which I'm also very interested in because that's where a lot of folk stories and poetry and music. If they're talking about a kind of monster, that's typically the kind of area that they'll go into.
And like
Yeah.
for you, do you have a spirituality thing, or is it more of like the aesthetic, the look?
I've bounced around a lot. I'm very bad about practicing. There was a period where I like practiced a lot, and I tend to focus in like paganism, specifically like Celtic paganism, because like there's like some stuff in my family where people practiced that like for a long time, and then they went kind of into Catholicism, as Irish people do. And so I unfortunately I haven't looked and put too much work into doing that just because I've been so busy. But there was a period of time where I was practicing a lot, and I really liked how I felt and some of the things that were happening when I was working with it. But so yeah, definitely non-practicing as of right now, just because
Yeah.
it takes time and effort that I don't have right now. But
It makes sense for some people to like believe in it but not practice it because of how exhausting, like mentally, physically
oh
it can
yeah,
be. Okay, so I know you listen to a lot of Irish music. I
yes.
do want to know if there's a lot of Irish goth music.
I haven't found any actually. I tend to listen to a lot of like when it comes to Irish music, more like folk music. I like to switch. I switch up my music tastes, but I haven't. I did. I think briefly look into it, and what I found was um, this kind of empty Spotify playlist. So I kind of gave up after that. But yeah, I'm not sure. I would like to know when it comes to Irish music. It's tend to be like just like folk or pub songs that I can just sing along to and clap and dance around. I'd love to.
I
I
kind of
like
got scared.
making my girlfriend listen to music in the car. Like,
Yeah, your girlfriend's from the same place, Battleground, right?
she's from Vancouver, but it's like 20 minutes out from Battleground. But yeah, Vancouver, Washington.
So cool. And like, how did you guys meet?
We met on Tinder.
Love.
It's funny. She had seen one of my TikToks about I was going to a concert in Portland. And so it came up on her page, or like a friend sent it to her or something, because she was also going to that concert. And so she saw that and was like, oh my gosh, like she's kind of cute. And apparently like kind of kept an eye out for me because I had like pink hair at the time. Kind of kept an eye out for pink hair at the concert. We didn't end up meeting, nor did I know who she was. But then we matched on Tinder, and we were going to go on a date. And this was right before quarantine started. And then she backed out at the last minute and was like, I'm sorry, like I'm not in a place to date right now. And I was like, oh, like that's fine.
Yeah.
So I was back on Tinder. And then I guess she saw me and super liked me and was like, oh, I'm so glad I found you. And I was like, you were the one who didn't want. But since then we started seeing each other, but it was difficult because by that time it was like we had had a plan to go on a coffee date, and then quarantine started, and we were like, oh, never mind. So we actually started dating and became official before we met in person.
So cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also like very with the times, very modern. Like this
right,
real pandemic,
very modern romance.
I was wondering, how old are you and how old is she?
I am 20 and I turned 21 on the 18th this month. And she's also 20, but she doesn't turn 21 until August.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm 19. You wanted to know.
Nice. I was just about to ask, actually.
Yeah, I'm 19. I turned 20 on September.
Wow.
I know. I was wondering, so like okay, I know you do clothes and stuff, right? Which I think is so awesome. Do you do any other art stuff like writing, drawing, etc.?
I do. I do write, not nearly as often as I should, or would like to. But I love writing, and I do music. I can't sing, but I play some instruments.
That is a lie. I have seen a video of you singing. It was
well, but I play some instruments, and I write, and I would like to draw, but I haven't been able to get myself to do it consistently enough to where I can say that I draw actively.
Yeah. I've drawn, I mean, I write, and I used to do, my level of writing used to be like depression or like being brown, that kind of stuff, that very like stereotypical, like I'm a mango and I'm not from every country, like that kind of shit that everyone makes fun of Hispanic people doing. I do that. And but lately I've done a lot of more gory, macabre, like stuff that I'm really excited to do, and I kind of just share it with people because I don't have a band yet. I think you should do a goth band. I really do.
I have been thinking about that, actually. I would love to do that, but I have not. I don't write. I'm not good at writing music. I have not written a full song ever. So I don't really know what I would do there, but it is a very cool idea.
You could play an
That's true. That's true. I would need to learn, like, the instruments I play are like they're not very goth. It's like guitar and trumpet and keyboard a little bit and some banjo. Like, just I'm like I'm gonna be taking flute lessons with a friend, stuff like that.
Dude, I wanted to have a punk band, and I wanted to, because I have a clarinet, and I was like, I could play clarinet in a punk band.
Yeah.
The whole point of goth, right? I
True.
mean, I know that there's like rules and stuff, right? It's kind of there's more rules compared to like punk, but like,
that's true. Yeah. Yeah, really.
You could be a banjo goth person. Who cares?
No, you're right. You're right. You're onto something.
Also with like clothing and stuff. I think you get a lot of good finds from the clothes. Like I was very surprised. I mean, I wasn't surprised because I know that goth and punk cultures are based off of people who like, get these fashions and renovate it with what they have already in store. It's not really based off of how much money you have. So I
Yeah,
wasn't
definitely.
surprised, but I was still surprised in the sense of how much good stuff you have.
Thank you.
Yeah. And like, how do you feel about also like, seeing have you ever seen people like with the alternative like TikTok fashion like ever in real life? Like, do you like it? Are you like, oh
I
my God, this is cool?
It's not for me. I do think it's cool to a certain degree. Like parts of it are cool.
Mhm.
Um, I there's a big like population of especially like high schoolers
Yeah.
who dress like that here. I'm kind of scared of them a little bit. I feel like they'll laugh at me if they see me. Um, I think it's definitely it's good and bad. I think
Yeah.
it's good in the sense that it has, because it's become mainstream. It's allowing a lot more people to be able to express themselves, and who knows, like
Mhm.
if they start it there and they
Yeah.
find something else in another subculture that they like, it's like a gateway kind of thing. Which I'm all for self-expression, and I'm all for, just because I don't like a certain style doesn't mean it's not
Yeah.
good, and doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It's just
Yeah.
not for me. um, but on the other hand, it's become very commercialized, um, and it's kind of watering down, in my opinion, some watering down, specifically I think when you take that kind of fashion and that community
Yeah.
and you try to put it under the same, like in the same group. It's like
Yeah.
as its own thing, as its own alternative thing, however you would label it, like e-boy, e-girl. I'm not sure exactly what the terms are. um, but that's fine. But when you try to lump it in with like punk and
Yeah.
goth and all these other things, then it kind of waters down the communities that we have here.
Yeah.
um, but at the same time, it's I've seen a lot of people be extremely gatekeepy, especially in the goth community. But that's also just because that's where I'm at. Um, it's like, well, if you can't dress like this, then you're not goth and da da da. And I'm like, well, okay, it's a music based subculture, first of all,
Yeah.
so jot that down. um, and also, like, you're expecting these like 13, 14, 15-year-old kids to be able to fully express themselves to like the fullest extent when they're still living under their parents' roof, when
Yeah.
they don't have jobs, when they're still children, like
Yeah.
so in that sense, I like the leeway that it gives certain members of that group. I think there are
Mhm.
some kids, in that kind of fashion era, who are genuinely like interested in alternative subculture and like actually,
Yeah.
belong and fit and feel good about their clothes,
Yeah.
and want to learn more and will eventually find themselves in a comfortable place wherever, whatever subculture that may be.
Yeah.
But I don't like the people who, have taken it and commercialized it and like sell it like on like dolls kill stuff and just like kind
Yeah.
of corny. And like it's people who have like historically picked on kids for being, like emo or punk or goth or whatever, and then have decided, oh well, it's cool now, so I can do it. um, so I guess, long story short, I guess it matters as to what your ideals and intentions are when it comes to that
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Yeah, I like to think of it as its own thing because
Yeah, me
sometimes
too.
I feel like I like it. It's more. I feel like what they're doing now is more of a fashion-based subculture than an actual music
Absolutely.
or ideals or I don't. It feels more
Yeah,
fashion-based, so I like to
which is
think of it like
fine, but
that.
it's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
But when you try to lump it in with something that is not just fashion based, it's like that's where there's problems, I think.
yeah, because also it's a bit. I mean, there's so much. Okay, wait. Let me get my little thoughts in order before I. I think it's also very like they now that it's being commercialized and mainstream, the problem is now companies are advertising it and now the
Yeah.
extent of the history, right, of like punk and goth people being like, the way that we get these clothes aren't from $50 pieces. It's based off
Right.
DIY thing. And
Exactly.
no, I
It's
mean,
totally fucked up.
Cyber Escape has had two. There was a metal band, and they were like 17 and 18-year-olds in the world, and they were
Nice.
a good fucking metal band, so good. And they were young kids. I mean, I consider them kids. I don't know. And
Yeah.
you
I
know,
love that.
and same thing with Psycho Word, which is also they were like 17, 18, and they were a punk band, and they were really good. That's like
Mhm.
there's so many kids out there with so much musical talent, so much artistry
Yeah.
talent. There's a lot of kids out there who are so talented
Mhm.
that like it would be a disservice to really gatekeep, right?
Exactly. I don't understand gatekeepers. I mean, I do sometimes in specific instances,
Yeah.
like, but like for the most part, I'm very much just like,
Yeah.
yeah, do what you want to. Like,
Yeah.
if it's not harming anyone and not like contributing to something that is harmful,
Yeah.
then
Also, they
do
have
your thing.
this weird young belief also TikTok is very racial
Mhm.
in terms of
Yeah.
if you are a brown slash black slash indigenous alt person,
Mhm.
you're not alt or something.
Yeah, that's a
And it's like,
huge problem. And it's like, I'm very lucky I have cultivated my For You page to where it is actually, it's primarily like alternative people of color.
love.
um, because it like goth and like punk and everything else has a deep history of being racist when most of these things were started by people of
Yeah.
color. I think pretty much all of these subcultures, I haven't done extensive research on all of them, but like a lot of them are rooted in from people of color. And it's like you can't just kick these people out once you
Oh,
it's like I know you're used to colonizing everything else, but it's 2021 now.
yeah.
Like
It's not
it's
like the
fucked up.
90s and 80s anymore, right? Like there
Right.
was
Like you know better. Two mutuals. I don't Vampire goth is more of like a specialized like goth subculture. So there aren't as much as I've seen, at least. If
Mhm.
they're all hiding somewhere, I would love to find them.
Yeah.
But it's more of a specialized subculture, and so there's not a whole lot of community there. But I am lucky to have a few mutuals who are vampire goth, and I have two of them um, who are black and they're vampire goth, and it's like they're fucking cool. Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make any sort of
Yeah.
difference in like how well it's pulled off. And like, cause I've never, first of all, pulling off a sense of fashion like that's in any regard, I will never agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's like a certain, you have to be a certain body type or height or weight or skin tone to match a fashion trend. Because like, yes, there are these like ideals that have been put into the media, and like we have this idea of like, oh, if you're going to dress like that, you need to look like this.
Mhm.
But it's not, it's all fake. It's all just fucking pretend. Like
Yeah.
once you look past it, it's like you can literally wear anything
Yeah.
and look good.
And also, I think it's so sad because at least with punk, it's like there's supposed to be this weird, not weird, but there's literally like a lot of people who backstab the whole ideology, right? Punk is like an
Yeah.
ideology slash music subculture. The whole
Yeah.
ideology is supposed to be anti-racist and anti-establishment, and yet a lot of black people have been, and a lot of people of color, a lot of Mexican people, a lot of Peruvian, everyone, Jewish people, everyone, they have been
Mm-hmm.
pushed out of the punk scene because all
Yeah.
these punk people only accept white people. And now there's different scenes where, queercore, it was
Yeah.
pushed out of the Riot Girl movement. And
Mm-hmm.
Riot Girl was amended because they were pushed out of the men. And then there's
Yeah.
Afro Punk because they made their own
They
scene.
had to make their own. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
It's like
mean,
there's so
Afro Punk
many
is
movements that
beautiful.
are specified. They're gorgeous. It's there's so many movements that have like been specified because like certain groups are pushed out of other marginalized groups, and it's like it doesn't make any sense. Like in the queer community, you know, like queer people who aren't like white, thin,
Yeah.
cis, or binary trans, even, you know, like a lot of non-binary people, I'm sure you're aware,
Yeah.
are very just experience a lot of negativity within our own community, within the trans community, within the queer community.
And there's, I mean, again, a lot of Hispanic punk people exist, especially in their own countries. I mean,
right, yeah.
I've seen so many. I've seen so many like Chicano and other Hispanic punk people. I mean, I'm Peruvian. I'm
Yeah,
I'm Peruvian. I'm out
you're
here. I go to
Cuban and you're
shows,
punk.
and I go to these shows and I support these bands, and I don't have the biggest, I mean, this is from my own fault of laziness, but I don't have the biggest memory of band knowledge and member knowledge. But I would like to think that I'm still in some way punk because of the ideology
Absolutely.
of the shows. And yet
Absolutely.
a lot of these people, I mean, they don't get it. Same thing with also I would like to say essay. A lot of it has been normalized in these cultures because
Absolutely.
like a lot of men. And I mean there's a lot, I mean, I don't know, there's women who do it, but you know what I mean. Like there's lots of white men who, and just men in general, who just essay and are like, oh yeah, I can play a show. No, you
It's
can't.
normalized. It's just like it's a normal part, and it's like absolutely not. Like fuck you. Like
Yeah. Like you shouldn't play a show. Why should you play a show?
Who wants to, I don't want to hear any art made by someone who does that. Like nothing. I don't want to hear anything, especially art.
Exactly. And so it's like, why do you, I mean, I think those are the only times where I'm really gatekeeping. I'm like,
oh yeah, absolutely. When I say I'm not gatekeeping, I'm not talking about like
that's
sexism, racism, like yeah, not pedophilia, nothing like that. I will gatekeep the shit out of you. Like,
but also with non-binary, there's this whole non-binary kind of like weird thing on TikTok where or not even just TikTok, just social media in general, of this like there's a white androgynous non-binary thing, right?
yes.
I don't think you have to be, I mean, I was explaining this to the last interview. They were, it was like after the interview, they were asking me lots of great questions about non-binary stuff and stuff like that. And I was like, honestly, I mean, to me, the stuff I do feels like drag. I look very
yes. Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
This is all just performative. I'm really just a glob that floats in space. This is drag.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't have gender. I'm just a vampire. I don't know what's going on.
Exactly. And I don't know if it's my earth sign. I don't know if it's my sign placement. Sometimes a lot of these conversations are had. Sometimes I genuinely just kind of ignore it because my sign, something about my sign placement. I'm blaming it on my signs. I know. I'm just like,
I do that too. We're good.
I'm just like, this doesn't include me, and I don't care about what you guys think. I am still a glob in this space, and that doesn't matter. And so,
and that's
non-binary doesn't have to be androgynous. Why?
I know, and it's also the
why do you have to like frogs?
That, like,
not everyone has to like frogs. I like frogs, but you don't have to.
Oh my god, I know, especially on TikTok. I've noticed this thing of like, especially like how you said with the view of androgyny being like white, like traditionally attractive, like slim people. It's just creating a, and like with like, oh, like, ooh, non-beanie loves frogs and mother, like that's just putting, is that not just putting it in a binary? Like, isn't the whole point to not be in a specific box? And I've seen so many people who are non-binary, and they're like, they feel so excluded because they're, you know, they're fat, or they're like a person of color, or they're just like, they don't have traditionally attractive features. And it's like, or they're not interested in these things, or they don't feel like presenting in an androgynous way. You know, they want to look, they prefer looking masculine, or they prefer looking feminine, or nothing at all. And it's like, that's what it's supposed to be. There's no way to look non-binary, and I think that's a huge problem, especially on TikTok right now, where it's like we have this image, and I'm guilty of it. When I think of a non-binary person now, because of all this exposure, I immediately think of like a certain type of person, and then I'm like, I don't even fit into all of those ideals, and I'm
Yeah.
very much non-binary. So it's like, it shows how deeply ingrained this has become because of just the amount of exposure to that online. And so like now we're all gonna have to unlearn that.
Well, thank you for having this interview with me. I'm so
Of
sorry. We've
course,
just
thank
been
you for
talking a while.
no, it's good. It's good conversation.
Yeah, we can talk more after the recording. I know. Same thing. Oh my God, same thing. I had a Peruvian Andean, so like Andes indigenous person who makes collage art. And we talked about
Ooh.
so much like deep stuff about Peru and being Peruvian American and like all this stuff. So I'm like, oh my God, both of these interviews are just such heavy topics that I love. And I'm so
That's
excited
awesome. That
about.
makes it, those are conversations that we need to have. Like it's
Yeah.
also more interesting. I mean, I'd much rather talk about that kind of shit than like what your favorite color is or something. What is your favorite color also? Like just curious.
I don't actually have a favorite because
Mm.
I get in like really indecisive, but I will say I really, really like pink. And
Oh,
I like pink, but a lot of the colors I wear on my face are black. So that's fine,
Alan,
you
pink
know.
is a very nice color.
Yeah. But I wear lots of black and I like lots of light blue because it looks good on my skin tone. And gold. Love gold. I can't
Nice.
forget about that. I love
Gold.
Yeah.
Gold is very nice.
How about you?
Like dark green, but I don't ever wear green.
Taurus and green. My
I
roommate
know. I'm
loves
like
green. And she's a
I'm a
Taurus.
walking Taurus stereotype. Every single no, like literally every single trait. It's like, yeah, this is Taurus. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, same thing with Virgo, except for the cleaning thing. I'm very messy, but I am very particular. I am that my Mars is a Capricorn, so I'm just like, no, it's a Mercury. My Mars is a Mercury, which means I'm brutal and stuff.
I wish I knew more deeply. I have a lot of Gemini in my chart, if that means anything. There's
Wow,
like
means you're
yeah,
fun.
there's a lot of Gemini going on. I'm a Taurus sun, Sagittarius moon, Cancer rising. I think is your Mars, is that like how you're perceived and stuff? Like your person?
Okay. Mercury is conversation. Mars is more aggression / sex.
Those are both Gemini.
That's just so funny because my roommate, that's a Taurus, has a Sagittarius moon and she has a Leo rising.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're same moon. That was so cool. That's why I was so excited. I was like, oh my God.
Like, oh my God. I thought I just liked Sagittarius moons, and I was like, yeah, fair enough. We're pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I have Virgo sun, rising, and a Libra moon.
Oh.
Yeah. So it just means I'm kind of bitchy and fun.
That's good. That's fun.
Yeah.
I like Libras.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for being part of this interview.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Yeah.